What's up, Crypto Junkies? It's Jay, and let's chart some LTC, okay? Some Litecoin. I made a comment yesterday, and I was way off on it, and it was before I had fully charted LTC. So let me renege on that and show you what I got, okay? So let's just remove all of this, and I'll walk you through my process flow and really just my process for how I kind of chart a coin, okay? So we'll even remove these significant lines that I have in here. And if we were to zoom out, I've even got these channels in here. You see here? I've got this whole downward channel that we broke out of, and I will delete those as well. Actually, no, we'll leave those. That doesn't matter. We're not even going to be playing around in there. So we're on a 4 hour, but let's zoom out onto a 1 day. I always start on a 1 day. And the reason why is because we get more data, and I've made some changes to the, to how I see things and what I see on here. I'm not going to go through that. Okay. So what I'm looking for first is I'm looking for significant lines, significant areas, okay, that have shown price action on both a support and resistance standpoint, okay? So the first one that we've got is this one right here. So I'm going to just go ahead and you can change it to actually snap to, but that wick means something. But not only that wick, we've actually got this wick. And I'm basing it really, this is the first thing that I see glaring in my face. But what do we see here? This actually has been acting as resistance on this side and support here. So it was support here. It was support here for this wick. And we see even a little bit more action happening on this side, okay? And we see it acting as resistance here. So what I look for in significant lines, let's call them, is really just interaction from both a support and resistance standpoint, okay? And I look for the big ones. Another one would actually be right around in this price action that we're in right now. Because what we see, it's not enough for me to actually snap, but let's just say you wanted to. We see it acting as support here, and we see it acting as resistance there and there. Not quite there. Supporting it here. So it's not enough for me to actually make that a line, but this zone here, we definitely have a zone here, and this is what I'm basing that off of. Because again, we're on a daily, okay? So the other one I've got, let's see here. Let me just kind of look. Be something right in here. Acting as support and resistance. Yeah, I want to say something right in here. Okay, and so what are we seeing? We're seeing support here. We're seeing resistance here, 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 here. Okay, here, here, here. So that's another decent line, right? And I think that's about what I had before, is just those two lines. And that's really just to give me a zone of the price action that has been, the price action zones, okay? Now, that's where I usually start. And now if I were to zoom in, we would be able to start to see some other things. Another quick trick too, if you just click on auto, it pulls it all in, and then you can zoom out from there. But where are we at here? Can we see this? Should I do this on a daily? Daily, baby. No. Okay. So the correction stopped here. No. We saw a breakout impulse here. This is the bottom of the correction. So now we could actually start to count impulse on this. So that's where I actually came next. Is I came and I did some count. 4, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let me walk you through this. Here's the bottom. So this is the start of impulse 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't touch back into 1 territory. Remember that. 3 can never be the shortest. 5, this looks like a truncated 5th because this obviously isn't going to work. Or did we break out and we have a failed 5th? No, this works for a 5th, okay? And then we have, yeah, we've got another option here. I don't like that. That doesn't really work. So this play works, okay? I like that. That works. And then we've got a little ABC happening. All of that would be B, and then C, wherever we finish, somewhere in this 190, maybe, okay? In this zone that we're basically in right now. You saw I had a zone drawn up, a rectangle zone, okay, right in there, right? Well, where did I get that? Well, okay, we can fib from 2 places. We fib from 0 to 1 and 2 to 3. All right. Let's just fib. Oop. Why do I always fall for that one? Let's just fib. I got it in my favorites, damn it. Let's just fib on number 2. Boom. Okay. What is the first thing that we're noticing? Oh, do I got to reverse this? Nope. Move it. That guy. Give me that guy. No. Okay, so first thing we notice, what happens here? I mean, almost perfectly, we get the number 4, comes right back into the golden zone, okay? 0.65 to 0.618, that zone. Dips in there, wicks in there perfectly. And this, we need to tighten this up. We've got a bounce on the 382 here. That's good, that makes sense. And what do you know here? We're opening up for an opportunity on the 0.5. Now this is the end here, okay? So this is C. Wherever this ends up is where we end. And then what we're looking for is we're looking for impulse, and we're looking to start another sequence up until that point, okay? So we can make some assumptions based off of key lines. Oh, another little fun fact is, where are my other lines here? We've got one down here. Oh, this was, okay, so then I had this line drawn before, but I didn't draw it again. So we'll pop it in here now that I can cheat. This 382, I had another line on there before. So before I deleted all this. And it's because afterwards I saw that it lined up with the 382 line. That makes total sense. You know, algorithms and bots, they buy and sell a lot on trend lines. So there's like these unwritten rules that you see with Fibonacci sequence and with Elliott wave in terms of how far the second wave corrects, how far the fourth wave corrects, the ABC patterns that we see. All those things hit on key numbers that sync up, okay? They sync up with bots. So 382 is common, 236 is common. Even without Elliott wave, you know, look at this. 236 has been on fire. So if we see that, then we can make assumptions on that, okay? Now let's lay in, and we will fib this one, okay? But let's flip that. Okay, 0 to 1. And what we can look for is we can look for some overlap. We have 2 coming down to the 50 on that line. Let me make sure I got this. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so we've got this dipping down into close to that 50% line when we fib from here to here. We've got some overlap happening between our two sets of fibs, right? And these are all, again, these are all lines that interact. This first fib set is going to give you a lot less in hindsight than the second one. That's why we operate off of the second one. Or overall, we just jump to what we've got on all 5. Okay, now that we've got the tippy top, okay, we would just fib the whole thing and see what we've got. Okay, so now we're seeing this is dipping down into this 50% line. Okay, here we are in a 382. We're dancing around in the 382 area. with current price action. So yeah, and what do you know? This is pretty close to my line that I've got here, which it broke through earlier. That was like the 201 range. So that's how I got this little zone right in here. Okay. And that's also why I like charting on bigger time frames. And what we could see is we could start to, because we don't know how far this is going to correct down now, we can jump out to a higher time frame, not a 1 week, a 1 day. Auto snap that. Okay. Here's this again. We see everything that we've been playing around with. All right. And there's our 5-wave structure. That works. ABC, we're not quite done there yet, but we're in this zone. You see for the daily, we're in this zone. We got to wait to see what happens with today's price action and to see if we finalize the correction and then start to look for that impulse. Okay, so for now, for me anyways, it's a no trade zone. Definitely want to see how far this dips down, which might be some buying opportunities. You might want to look down to see if it comes all the way down into this 50% pocket. The 50% fib line is usually buy-in indicators for day traders. Okay, day traders who aren't using Elliott Wave, some who do, but guys who don't really use Elliott Wave and a lot of these other complex indicators, they operate off of fibs. There's a ton of people who just buy and sell off of fibs alone, and guess what? 50% is that is confirmation to then start to open up some positions. Okay, so we're looking for it to interact with the 50%, and then once we've confirmed that it's stopped, then that would be like our first buy-in points. Okay, unless it's just sliding, right? Which is rare for LTC. We haven't seen that happen that much at all. So yeah, 50% line would be your indication. You could put in some buy orders down there for grabbing up some position sizing. Okay. The 618 to 665 would be another zone, but I doubt we'll come down that far. 50 would even be pushing it for this last little run up, and that's all we're basically operating off of. Okay, you could come back a little further on historic and pull from. Nope, go back a little further. No, I mean we could even run from just this. Let's see what kind of historic data we're getting. See what this tells us. Okay, that basically syncs up 618, 65 is the sweet little pocket that we're in right now. But if you notice, all of them are pretty much just below that box. I don't really think that even if we were to get that low, I don't even see us going lower than that. So this sweet spot is where we're interacting, and what I'm going to be keeping an eye on to see if I'm going to come back in to Litecoin. Okay, so there's that line there. Yeah, so right in between here, this is the zone that I'm watching now. All right, let's look at some other indicators. Where's my favorites? Just put all the ones that you normally use in your favorites. And also too, we're talking on a higher time frame here, so I'm not really. There's different indicators that I'm using. Well, I'm using them in different ways, rather. Okay, so we've got our MACD. What's that looking like? Bearish. Histogram is showing bearish. We're having lower lows. Okay, so we're still coming down. We're on the daily. Okay, we're crossed over. Blue below the red. This is bullish. This is bearish. Just crossed over on the 1 day. So we could now work our time frame backwards too. Show that in just a second to see what kind of confluence we get. Let's dead nuts our 50 line here. We're below the 50 line. Okay. The 50 line is just a significant line to see on a daily. Again, you know, it's way more significant than a 15-minute chart, but you see a coin's ability to stay above the 50% line and how it's interacting. And you can make quite a bit of decisions just off of that and the confluence that gives you. So we see volume overall is down, crossed up on the MACD, bearish, below the 50, bearish. You know, our volume is telling us bearish. Candle reflecting that price action. So yeah, but let's drop down to a 4-hour. What's that looking like? Okay, here we go. So this tells us that this is going to be short-lived. There's a high chance this is going to be short-lived because we're already flatlined. We're already so oversold. We're sitting on the bottom, sitting on the floor of being oversold. And if you take a really close look here, we have a higher low on the histogram. Okay, so we see that may be starting to falter. What's a 1-hour look like? Okay, so on a 1-hour, we've already started to bounce off the floor. God, this MACD can get so hard to read, like glows in the dark. All right, there we go. It's trying to cross over, but it's not strong enough. You see, we got a little bit on the histogram, but now it's kind of flat lined back out again. So we want to keep watching that. Snap that back into play. Okay, here's our price action for the last. These are 1-hour candles now. Okay, so we're interacting in this zone, in this little pocket. We could even tighten up this pocket to the bottom of that wick, to the top of this wick right there. That's pretty much our zone based off of how these candles have been interacting with it. Okay, so we might just be coming out of this because even on the, okay, this is a 2-hour, we got higher lows. This is ripe to consolidate, squeeze together, and cross over, bouncing off the bottom. So in a short time frames, we see a break in the bearish veneer here. But when you go 4 hours on out, we see it still looks predominantly bearish. Okay, so we want to be watching this. And we want to keep checking our time frames to see, because this looks promising. This looks like we might be turning bullish here. Okay, we got some volume kicking up. Yeah. So it's very interesting what working with the different time frames starts to tell you in terms of overall direction and price action. But anyways, those are my thoughts, my long-winded thoughts on LTC.